How are we doing, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. And as you may be able to tell, last week there was no VBA video. You may have even noticed that there was no Twitch stream the last week or so. Unfortunately, my capture card is broken. But for this week's VBA week 3, we're taking the Miami Mincinnos, and I've managed to record a little bit on my phone and try and just work it together. So I do apologise for the poorer quality than usual, but there we go. As I said, we're taking on the Miami Mincinnos this week, coached by Liz, who's new to the league, and she's 2-0. She's got a real scary team, particularly in that if she wants to set up screens, she pretty much can. We've seen already this season she's been happy to use quick guard on the Crobat turn 1, meaning that, you know, she wants to go for, she wants to do like Crobat Grimmsnarl, for example. I realised pretty early on in prep that I wasn't going to be able to stop that. Obviously, we both have Ninetales, so if she was going to lead a kind of Hail lead and go for Aurora Veil, that is something I could stop. But I couldn't reliably stop screens this week. So, interestingly, despite the fact that I couldn't reliably stop screens, my approach is quite offensive. Ninetales, Indeedee and Salazzle all have modest natures and all have maxed out special attack pretty much. The idea behind this was that I didn't want to be in a position where I'm just not dealing any damage when she's got the screens up. I wanted to be able to kind of pressure her as much as possible with damage, like I say, even with screens up, and with some of the calcs I did, that was possible. I was a little unsure about what the sets were going to be. In my calcs, Salazzle's Sludge Bomb, if there's no screens up, Salazzle's Sludge Bomb should pretty much always KO max HP Grimmsnarl, and in Indeedee Shadow Ball should do around about 70% to Metagross. Obviously, but that's without a screen. But the information I really needed to find out game 1, no matter win or lose, I needed to find out if there was going to be a dark move on this Grimmsnarl. In the past couple of weeks, Liz hasn't run a dark move on the Grimmsnarl. If there wasn't one, that would be really good for me. But I wanted to kind of, I needed to make sure. You'll obviously see at this point that Indeedee's Choice Scarfed, which is really nice, particularly with expanding force into Crobat. So we see that there's definitely some special defense investment in the Grimmsnarl. Metagross gets off the Stomping Tantrum into Salazzle, who survives on 1 HP. You can't see that from here, but I have a Focus Sash. And then, as we now see, Grimmsnarl's Darkest Lariat comes out and takes out the Indeedee, which is really bad, because Indeedee, with the Scarf, is just applies so much pressure, and I didn't really want to lose it this early, but I had to find out if there was a dark move on that Grimmsnarl, and I was kind of confident if I could get big damage up within the first kind of turn, that I could just chip away until the end here with the Quagsire in the back. So the Quagsire set this week is super bulky, leftovers recover, and the idea behind it was basically, if Ninetales doesn't have Freeze Dry, then we can just wall our way through an end game. If we remove enough of her Pokemon, we can just kind of sit around with Quagsire and win ugly. So now my concern here was that the Ninetales Alola was going to switch in, so I basically had to flamethrower both slots, because I figured with Salazzle on 1 HP, it would have been a kind of nice time to switch in the Ninetales, and then reset like maybe a fake out on the Grimmsnarl if the Psychic Terrain was gone later. But as it is, Grimmsnarl stayed in, and we did manage to pick it up. The Metagross with the Life Orb as well obviously deals quite a lot of damage, and now Ninetales Alola does come in. So at this stage, I know that Ninetales is not going to be a problem. Metagross can't protect again. I debate switching my Ninetales out into Quagsire here, but I know her Ninetales isn't going to be too much of a problem if I can keep my Ninetales alive, right? I figure the Metagross either has to switch here, because the Metagross has to switch because it can't protect again, right? So there's no point me firing attack into that slot and wasting it. So I switch out my Ninetales so I can reset the Sun, and just accept that maybe she gets a Aurora Veil off here. As it is, her Ninetales goes for a Protect, which is a really sensible play, because my Salazzle will now go down to the Hail. However, this actually puts me in a fairly nice position as long as the Ninetales on the opposing side doesn't have freeze dry. Now, as I say, Liz hasn't run freeze dry on the Ninetales the past couple of weeks, so it was kind of a risk on my kind of end here. But yeah, so this turn I have Energy Ball on Ninetales, but I'm unsure if I want to click Energy Ball or whether I want to protect on this turn, because you would imagine a Swampert attack is going to come out into me here, and then I click High Horsepower into the Ninetales slot because I'm pretty sure the odds are she's going to switch out to the Metagross. It just seems like a very obvious thing to do to try and reset the hail. It's the correct thing to do, I imagine, but yeah, so the Metagross does come in. Ninetales gets the Energy Ball off into the Swampert. Now I'm Life Orb and Modest, and that just takes it out, which is great news. And then the High Horsepower comes out into the Metagross and takes that down as well, which is awesome. Yeah, and at this point I'm kind of I feel quite confident that we can tie this game up, which is really nice because I had resigned game 1 if she had Darkest Lariat on the Grimmsnarl. I kind of resigned myself to the fact that we may lose, but I need to find out the information. Right, as it is, we're now in a kind of nice position, and even with the hail up, there's not too much that she can do to kind of slow us down, which is it's good for us. I think this game 1, if Liz doesn't switch out the Ninetales for Metagross the turn when the hail earlier on, I think if she'd have got a Roar Veil up, then actually my Energy Ball doesn't KO Ninetales, and then the end game becomes a lot more difficult. However, fortunately for us, that didn't quite happen, and Quagsire is able to pick up another KO, so let's go Quagsire. He's honestly, Quagsire just looked so good this week. I started off the week thinking maybe Mawile was the answer, or maybe I could play to a kind of a more stally end game. Excuse my thumb. I wasn't really sure which Pokemon was right, but I felt that there was something about the way her previous 2 team sheets shaped up that I thought there must be a way here where I could, for example, if I can remove the Swampert, then could Mawile just sit in at the end? If I remove the Ninetales, could it be Mandibuzz maybe? But in the end, I opted for Quagsire because I just felt like if there's no freeze dry on the Ninetales, then that's great. We could just use that and have Quag sit in right till the end. Equally, I thought if there were freeze dry on Ninetales, obviously we can just target it down. It's almost certain to come game 1, and if it comes game 1 and we lose game 1 because we find the information, then it's pretty certain to come game 2 as well. So I do spend some time here thinking about whether I want to lead the Slurpuff. It's physical Slurpuff this week, so I wondered if maybe I could throw that in against the Grimmsnarl. Play Rough is always going to KO the Grimmsnarl, and I wondered maybe I could bait her into going for like a light screen or something, and then getting a Play Rough off. But in the end, I decided that don't fix what isn't broken. We use the same team again, and yeah, so we go into game 2 here. Postcons are weird, by the way, because I'm trying to remember what I was thinking at the time. Anyway, so she leads Crobat and Grimmsnarl here. Now, a Sludge Bomb and Expanding Force would be really, really nice here. But as we learned in game 1, Grimmsnarl does have the Darkest Lariat, which would mean if there was Protect on the Crobat and I go for an Expanding Force and get whacked with the Darkest Lariat, I'll be very, very sad. That would not be very good at all. So I take some time to think, and I switch into Quagsire because I also go for the Flamethrower onto Crobat because I'm thinking it could be like a Metagross or a Ninetales switch. Just covers all the options. She goes for a Fake Out, which obviously can't happen in Psychic Terrain, and Tailwind goes up, which is not great. Don't really want Tailwind up. Because obviously now she's going to outspeed me. However, the beauty of the Quagsire is that everything outspeeds Quagsire anyway, so I can just tuck in. and I fire a liquidation into the Grimmsnarl, hoping for a defense drop. It's like 20% chance for a defense drop, which is pretty nice. And now the game is to stall out the Tailwind, knowing that if I can get Indeedee in the turn the Tailwind ends, I will outspeed the Crobat and KO it. And at that stage, I think that would be a nice way to tie things up. So Grim goes for the Darkest Lariat into the Quagsire. Quagsire takes it really nicely, gets a liquidation off into Grimmsnarl, and we do get the defense drop, which is pretty nice. From memory, I think it's largely irrelevant in the end, but it's still nice. I had a bit of rough luck in the VDL last week, like real rough luck with Thunderbolt paralysis, like Fire flinches 3 or 4 times in a row or something. So yeah, I'll take it. I'll take the luck where I can get it. Absolutely not gonna turn that down. So Grimmsnarl now does go for the Light Screen, which is a pretty smart play. And the Crobat goes for a Brave Bird, which is just sort of whistling itself down. Salazzle is really bulky this week, like as bulky as a Salazzle can be. So we hang on with I think 30% of our HP, which is pretty nice. And Quagsire picks up the Grimmsnarl. So if you're on the Quagsire kill count, that's 3. What a Pokemon! What a Pokemon Quagsire is. I had you all in your power rankings, fucking turn your nose up at Quagsire. Not sure what the Quagsire does. Well, this is what the Quagsire does, by the way. Just letting you know. Yeah, sure, he's no Whiscash. He's no Season 1 Whiscash, but still. Anyway, back to the commentary. Now I do some stuff. I can't remember what I do now. I think this was the last turn of Tailwind or something, or the second to last turn of Tailwind. I can't quite remember. Crobat goes for the Brave Bird, takes out my Salazzle. Excuse me. Which is, yep, that's fine. Metagross goes for a Rock Slide, which is annoying because if it's timid Metagross, one of the counts I wasn't sure on this week is I went for Modest Ninetales and EV'd it to outspeed Adamant. Oh yeah, sorry, I was just waiting for the Tailwind to die. That was right. Yeah, I EV'd the Ninetales to outspeed Adamant Metagross always. But if it's timid Metagross, then unfortunately that I do get outsped. Which I think, in hindsight, I wanted the damage with the Ninetales, and I figured Metagross is really often run Adamant just for extra, especially with the Life Orb. I kind of thought, she's going for real big damage here. So anyway, Indeedee is able to take out the Crobat, which is great news. Also, England has finally taken a wicket in the Ashes, which is even better news. Not that I'm not paying my full attention here, but I'm just saying. Stupid Steve Smith. Anyway, excuse me. I also apparently have a cough today. It's early in the morning, so I guess I haven't woken up properly yet. Crobat goes down, and in comes the Swampert, which means there's no hail. Now I have Energy Ball on 2 Pokemon in this game, so I'm confident that I can pivot around, and I know that Quagsire will always beat Metagross. So even if I do give up my Ninetales here, if we take a high horsepower or something into the Indeedee slot, then I can come back in with Indeedee, who also has Energy Ball, and just finish off the Swampert later. It's not a big deal whatsoever. Drought also means if she goes for a water move, then I'm kind of covered. Ironhead comes out into Ninetales, which we take pretty well, and the Liquidation also comes out, which we take pretty well. And then Quagsire deals huge damage with a high horsepower, and we get a bit of leftovers recovery, and yeah, things are looking pretty nice. So I go for a Protect here with Ninetales, trying to kind of play for differential. I never remember how much it matters, like differential with actual Pokemon, but since Leaf and Popo doing their sheet, I better do things right. Better try and keep the differential good. Also, because I didn't actually notice. I never look on the website or anything, but apparently it keeps a track of all the times your Pokemon have died or been taking kills in the history of the whole league, which is kind of cool actually. Anyway, so Ninetales protects here, and the Swampert protects as well. And the Metagross goes for a Rock Slide. So in this situation, it looks like Quagsire is about to pick up a 4th kill of the day. but unfortunately we flinch. Now, as you can see, like, this is what I was talking about the Quagsire, right? Is that if you can get yourself into a position with it, it can just sit on the field and be irritating. It can be so annoying, and like, it'll also 1v1 the Swampert as well. So basically, I'm trying to just kind of, because there are still situations where I lose this now. If I don't get things quite right. So Metagross goes for Rock Slide. Ninetales actually avoids, which is kind of, yeah, it's a bit insult to injury. It's not really very nice, but we get the Energy Ball off. It doesn't quite pick up the Swampert this time. So last time it was a higher roll, and then there's a bit of Citrus recovery here as well. Quagsire goes for high horsepower into the Metagross and does pick up its 4th kill of the game, which is pretty awesome. 4-kill Quagsire. There we go. And it's a bulky set. So, yeah, what can I say? Quagsire doing the business. Now, I decide here to switch out the Ninetales because it's going to die to Life Orb. But like I said, I'm just trying to preserve the differential. And I'm hoping, I'm like, please Quagsire, please get a 5th kill. You can do this, buddy. Indeed, obviously the Psychic Surge comes out. Swampert goes for high horsepower. Indeed, he takes it. Not very well though. It did a lot of damage. And high horsepower does not pick up the KO Swampert because for all of Quagsire's many qualities, raw power is not one of them. And then we just finish up with an Energy Ball into the Swampert, and we take both games. I think when you look back at like the statistics of the games, and it will say like 2-0 and 3-0, it was definitely a lot closer than that. There was some really like important moments throughout these 2 games, and Liz played really well. It's pretty clear she's going to make a dent in the league this season. I also really like her team. I think her team's totally slept on from what people have made of it. But anyway, yeah, good games to list. I really enjoyed myself, so thanks for the battles. And next week we take on Guma for like the 3rd time in the last few weeks, or the last month or so. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. And yeah, thanks for watching. Sorry about the mobile phone quality, but yeah, see you later.